Cyber Threat Brief for March 19, 2026. Interlock ransomware exploited a Cisco firewall 0-day for 5 weeks before disclosure. ConnectWise patches a critical Screen Connect flaw that allows session hijacking, and CISA adds Zimbra and SharePoint vulnerabilities to the KEV catalog with federal patching deadlines. A new Dark Sword iOS exploit kit is circulating among multiple threat actors, targeting users in Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Malaysia, and Ukraine. Medical device manufacturer Stryker suffers a cyber attack targeting Microsoft Intune endpoint management, prompting CISA to release hardening guidance for all endpoint management platforms. Here's the full breakdown of today's top security stories. Cyber Threat Brief, March 19, 2026. Next section, Critical Alerts. Cisco FMC 0-Day CVE 2026-20131. CVSS, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, 10.0, Interlock ransomware exploited a maximum severity deserialization flaw in Cisco Secure Firewall Management Center as a 0-day starting January 26, 2026, 36 days before Cisco disclosed and patched it on March 4. Amazon's threat intelligence team discovered the activity via honeypot sensors and identified a misconfigured Interlock infrastructure server that exposed their full post-exploitation toolkit. The vulnerability allows unauthenticated remote attackers to execute arbitrary Java code as root on affected FMC devices. The exposed toolkit includes a PowerShell reconnaissance script that enumerates Windows environments, OS, hardware, services, installed software, Hyper-V VMs, user files, browser artifacts from Chrome/Edge/Firefox/IE, network connections, RDP events, custom JavaScript and Java RATs with shell access, command execution, file transfer, SOC 5 proxy capability, self-update and self-delete mechanisms, a bash script that configures Linux servers as HTTP reverse proxies with HA proxy, and fail to ban to launder infrastructure origins, log erasure routines that run every 5 minutes, a memory-resident web shell that decrypts and executes command payloads from incoming requests, a lightweight network beacon for validating exploitation success, ConnectWise Screen Connect for persistent remote access, and volatility framework for memory forensics. Interlock has historically targeted education, engineering, architecture, construction, manufacturing, industrial, healthcare, and government sectors. Zero-day exploitation demonstrates continued investment by ransomware operators in discovering and weaponizing vulnerabilities in edge network devices from Cisco, Fortinet, Ivanti, and other vendors to gain initial access. Action: patch Cisco FMC immediately to the versions specified in the March 4 advisory. Review network logs for indicators of interlock activity since late January. This is a confirmed actively exploited 0-day with maximum severity. Sources: The Hacker News, Bleeping Computer Security Week, The Register. ConnectWise Screen Connect CVE 2026-3564. ConnectWise patched a critical cryptographic signature verification vulnerability in Screen Connect versions before 26.1 that allows unauthorized access and privilege escalation. An attacker can extract and abuse ASP, NET machine keys for unauthorized session authentication and unauthorized actions within Screen Connect. ConnectWise observed attempts to abuse disclosed machine key material in the wild, though the vendor states there is no evidence of active exploitation of CVE 2026-3564 specifically, and no indicators of compromise to share. There are claims that Chinese hackers have exploited this issue for years, though this is unconfirmed. Nation-state hackers previously exploited CVE 2025-3935, now on CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, KEV, known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. Due date was June 23, 2025, to steal Screen Connect secret machine keys. Cloud-hosted Screen Connect customers were automatically upgraded to version 26.1. On-premises customers must manually upgrade immediately. ConnectWise has added stronger protection for machine keys, including encrypted storage and improved handling. Action: upgrade on-premises Screen Connect to version 26.1 immediately. Tighten access to configuration files and secrets. Check logs for unusual authentication activity. Protect backups and old data snapshots. Keep extensions up to date. This is a critical RMM, remote monitoring and management, platform vulnerability with evidence of in-the-wild abuse of machine key material. Sources: Bleeping Computer. CISA KEV, Zimbra CVE 2025-66376, and SharePoint CVE 2026-20963, CISA added 2 actively exploited vulnerabilities to the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. CVE 2025-66376 is a stored cross-site scripting flaw. CVSS 7.2. In Zimbra collaboration suite classic UI that allows attackers to abuse CSS at import directives in HTML email messages. Zimbra patched this in November 2025, versions 10.0.18 and 10.1.13. EPS, the exploit prediction scoring system, score is 0. 15th percentile, but CISA KEV inclusion confirms active exploitation. Secrite Labs reported a campaign, called Operation Ghostmail, attributed to a suspected Russian state-sponsored group targeting the State Hydrographic Service of Ukraine. The attack uses a social-engineered internship inquiry email with obfuscated JavaScript payload embedded directly in the HTML body. No attachments, no links, no macros. And opened in a vulnerable Zimbra webmail session, it exploits CVE 2025-66376 and deploys a browser-resident credential stealer that harvests credentials, session tokens, backup 2FA recovery codes, browser-saved passwords, and mailbox contents going back 90 days. Exfiltration occurs over both DNS and HTTPS. The campaign email was sent on January 22, 2026, from a likely compromised National Academy of Internal Affairs email address. CVE 2026-20963 is a deserialization vulnerability, CVSS 8.8, in Microsoft Office SharePoint that allows unauthorized attackers to execute code over a network. Microsoft patched this in January 2026. EPS score is 0. 82nd percentile. CISA has not shared details on the exploitation, but confirmed active attacks. Federal agencies must patch CVE 2025-66376 by April 1, 2026, and CVE 2026-20963 by March 23, 2026, this Friday. CISA strongly urges all organizations to prioritize these KEV vulnerabilities. Action: patch Zimbra to versions 10.0.18 or 10.1.13 or later by April 1. Patch SharePoint servers with January 2026 updates by March 23. Review email and webmail logs for indicators of Operation Ghost Mail activity since January 22, including DNS and HTTPS exfiltration patterns. Zimbra servers are a frequent target for nation-state actors, including Winter Wyvern, Russian state-backed, and previous campaigns exploiting XSS and remote code execution vulnerabilities. Sources: CISA bleeping computer. The Hacker News Security Week. Next section: ransomware claims, last 48h. Group victim sector country Khyber L3 Harris Aerospace / Defense United States, one claim tracked in the last 48 hours. L3 Harris is a global aerospace and defense technology company providing mission-critical solutions for government, defense, and commercial sectors. This is an unverified claim from a ransomware leak site and has not been confirmed as a successful breach. Next section: ransomware and extortion. Marquee breach. 672,000 records stolen in August 2025. Sonic Wall attack. Marquee, a Texas-based financial services provider serving over 700 banks and credit unions, disclosed that a ransomware gang stole data from 672,075 individuals in an August 14, 2025 attack. The attackers compromised a Sonic Wall firewall and exfiltrated names, dates of birth, addresses, phone numbers, social security numbers, taxpayer identification numbers, and financial account information, without security or access codes. The incident disrupted operations at 74 banks across the United States. In January, Marquee blamed the attack on Sonic Wall's September 17 security breach that affected 5% of firewall customers using cloud backup service. Sonic Wall warned that attackers could extract access credentials and tokens, making it significantly easier to compromise customer firewalls. A Mandiant investigation found evidence linking the September incident to a state-sponsored hacking group. In February, Marquee filed a lawsuit against Sonic Wall for gross negligence and misrepresentation. The company is defending over 36 consumer class action lawsuits stemming from the attack and is seeking monetary damages, indemnification, contribution for judgments, attorney's fees, and equitable relief. Action: if your organization uses Sonic Wall firewalls with cloud backup service, review logs for compromise since August 2025. Rotate credentials and tokens that may have been exposed. Follow Sonic Wall's My Sonic Wall account credential reset guidance issued in September. This incident highlights supply chain risk in firewall vendor cloud services and the cascading impact on downstream customers, banks, and financial institutions. Sources: bleeping computer. Next section: business and infrastructure threats. Dark Sword IOS. Exploit kit targets multiple countries. Google Threat Intelligence Group, Verify, and Lookout reported a new IOS full-chain exploit kit called Dark Sword that leverages 6 vulnerabilities, 30 days, to fully compromise iPhones running iOS 18, 4 through 18. 7. Multiple commercial surveillance vendors and suspected state-sponsored actors have used Dark Sword since at least November 2025 in campaigns targeting Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Malaysia, and Ukraine. UNC 6353. A suspected Russian espionage group previously observed using the Coruna IOS exploit kit has now incorporated Dark Sword into watering hole campaigns. 6 vulnerabilities used in Dark Sword are CVE 2025-31277, JavaScript core memory corruption, patched in 18. 6. User mode pointer authentication code bypass in DILD, patched in 26. 3. CISA KEV due date was March 5, 2026. JavaScript core memory corruption, patched in 18.7.3 and 26. 2. CISA KEV due date was January 5, 2026. Angle memory corruption, patched in 18.7.3 and 26. 2. CISA KEV due date was January 2, 2026. iOS. Kernel memory management, patched in 18.7.2 and 26. 1. And iOS kernel memory corruption, patched in 18.7.2 and 26. 1. EP scores are low across all 6 CVEs, 0 to 0. 9 percentiles 4% to 75%, but 3 were exploited as 0 days before Apple patched them, and 5 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Dark Sword is delivered via compromised websites, hosting malicious iframe elements that load JavaScript to fingerprint devices and route targets to the exploit chain. The kit breaks out of the Safari web content sandbox, escalates privileges, and deploys 3 malware families: Ghostblade, Ghostknife, and Ghostsaber. The payloads are designed to extract an extensive set of personal information, including credentials and crypto wallet data, with a hit-and-run approach that collects and exfiltrates within seconds or minutes, followed by cleanup. Google reported the vulnerabilities to Apple in late 2025, and all have been patched with iOS 26. 3 most were patched earlier. Google has added Dark Sword delivery domains to safe browsing. Action: update all iPhones to the latest iOS version 26, 3 or later. If updates are not possible, enable lockdown mode for enhanced security. This is a significant iOS threat involving 0-day exploitation by commercial surveillance vendors and state-sponsored actors. The proliferation of exploit kits across disparate threat actors mirrors Coruna and demonstrates the second-hand exploit market for mobile devices. Sources: The Hacker News, Google Threat Intelligence Dark Reading. CISA Alert. Endpoint Management System hardening after Striker attack. CISA issued an alert urging organizations to harden endpoint management system configurations following a March 11, 2026 cyber attack against U.S.-based medical technology firm Stryker Corporation that affected their Microsoft environment. CISA is conducting enhanced coordination with FBI to identify additional threats and determine mitigation actions. CISA recommends implementing Microsoft's best practices for securing Microsoft Intune, with principles that apply broadly to other endpoint management software. Use least privilege for administrative roles. Leverage role-based access control (RBAC) to assign minimum permissions necessary for each role. Enforce phishing-resistant MFA, multi-factor authentication, and privileged access hygiene with Microsoft Entra ID capabilities. Conditional access, MFA, risk signals, privileged access controls. And configure multi-admin approval policies in Intune to require a second administrative accounts approval for sensitive or high-impact actions. Device wiping, applications, scripts, RBAC changes, configurations. Action: review endpoint management system configurations, Intune, SCCM, or third-party MDM/EMM platforms. Implement least privilege RBAC policies. Enforce phishing-resistant MFA for all administrative accounts. Enable multi-admin approval for high-impact actions, and review the CISA alert for links to Microsoft's securing Intune guidance and zero-trust configuration recommendations. This is a sector-wide threat to endpoint management platforms used by MSPs and enterprises, similar to previous attacks on RMM tools. Sources: CISA. Aura data breach. 900,000 marketing contacts exposed via Vishing Identity Protection Company. Aura confirmed that an unauthorized party accessed nearly 900,000 customer records containing names and email addresses. The incident was caused by a voice phishing attack targeting an employee. 20,000 current and 15,000 former Aura customers were affected. The data originated from a marketing tool used by a company acquired by Aura in 2021. The Shiny Hunters threat group claimed the attack and leaked 12 gigabytes of stolen files after failing to reach an agreement with Aura. The leaked data includes full names, email addresses, home addresses, phone numbers, customer service comments, and IP addresses. Have I Been PWNet added 901,000 plus email addresses to its database, with 90% already present from past incidents. Aura stated that social security numbers, account passwords, and financial information were not compromised. Action: monitor for Aura breach notifications to affected customers. This incident highlights the effectiveness of phishing attacks against employees with access to sensitive customer data. Review employee training on voice phishing and social engineering tactics. Consider monitoring for Shiny Hunters activity and leaked datasets that may include overlapping customer information. Sources: Bleeping Computer. Next section, Windows/Active Directory Security. Microsoft AI Observability Framework. Microsoft's security blog published guidance on observability for AI systems as part of expanding the Secure Development Lifecycle, SDL, to address AI-specific security concerns. Traditional observability tools track latency, errors, and throughput for deterministic code flows. AI systems are probabilistic and make complex decisions at runtime, requiring evolved telemetry to understand and govern AI behavior. Microsoft highlighted a scenario where an email agent asks a research agent to retrieve web content. The research agent fetches a page with hidden instructions, prompt injection, and passes poison content back to the email agent as trusted input. The email agent, now operating under attacker influence, forwards sensitive documents to unauthorized recipients, resulting in data exfiltration. Traditional health metrics, uptime, latency, errors, stay green, missing the boundary compromise between untrusted external content and trusted agent context. Microsoft's enhanced AI observability practices track how context was assembled at each step, what was retrieved, how it impacted model behavior, and where it propagated across agents. Traditional monitoring built around uptime and error rates cannot detect these AI-specific risks or provide signal for attribution or reconstruction. Action: organizations deploying generative AI and agentic AI systems should review Microsoft's AI observability guidance and secure development lifecycle updates. Implement telemetry that tracks context assembly, retrieval sources, model behavior changes, and cross-agent propagation. This is essential for detecting prompt injection, data exfiltration, and other AI-specific attack patterns. Sources: Microsoft Security Blog. Microsoft pauses Copilot auto-deployment. Microsoft paused plans to automatically deploy the Microsoft 365 Copilot app to customer devices for an unspecified period. The app provides a centralized entry point for Copilot experiences and AI-powered capabilities across Microsoft 365. The rollout was originally planned for early October 2025, slipped to December 2025, and is now temporarily halted. Existing installations are unaffected. Customers in the European Economic Area, EEA, were already excluded. Administrators can still deploy the app via other methods and should await further updates. The decision reflects negative reaction from Microsoft's commercial customers, who objected to the opt-out by default approach that increased administrative workload and forced IT leaders to make decisions based on Microsoft's schedule rather than corporate timelines. Action: no immediate action required. Organizations using Microsoft 365 should monitor for updates on Copilot app deployment and plan policies for AI assistant tools based on corporate schedules and security requirements, not vendor-driven automatic rollouts. Sources: The Register. Next section, General Security News. Talos. Ransomware Exfiltration Playbook. Cisco, Talos published research on data exfiltration tactics used by ransomware operators, noting that attackers increasingly leverage legitimate native utilities, commonly deployed third-party tools, and cloud service clients to exfiltrate data. This reduces the effectiveness of static indicators of compromise, IOC, and tool-based blocking strategies. Talos developed the exfiltration framework to systematically normalize behavioral and forensic characteristics of these tools, enabling cross-environment comparison independent of operating system, deployment model, or infrastructure domain. The framework models execution context, parent-child process relationships, network communication patterns, artifact persistence, and destination characteristics to expose detection-relevant signals that remain stable even when tools are renamed, relocated, or operated within trusted infrastructure. The analysis demonstrates that reliable detection requires correlation across endpoint, network, and cloud telemetry, with emphasis on behavioral baselining, contextual anomalies, and cumulative transfer analysis rather than protocol-level or allow-list-based controls. Attackers abuse trusted, allow-listed tools such as cloud CLI interfaces, file synchronization utilities, managed file transfer platforms, and legitimate file storage services, making the distinction between legitimate use and malicious abuse subtle, contextual, and difficult to identify. Action: review detection strategies for data exfiltration. Implement behavioral baselining, contextual anomaly detection, and cumulative transfer analysis across endpoint, network, and cloud telemetry. Static IOC, indicator of compromise, and tool-based blocking strategies are insufficient against ransomware operators leveraging legitimate utilities and cloud services. Talos research provides a framework for understanding how benign tools are abused for exfiltration. Sources: Talos blog. Palo Alto Networks, AI Agent Security Trade-offs Unit 42 published guidance on securing AI agents, noting that the open-source AI ecosystem forms the backbone of AI infrastructure, but contains more risk due to lack of standardized signing or integrity checks for models and high trust in popular repositories. Attacks spread widely and rapidly before threats are detected. Unit 42 outlined 2 attack pathways, targeting the open-source AI ecosystem, model file attacks, rug pull attacks on MCP servers, and targeting an organization's internal AI agents. In model file attacks, attackers upload malicious AI model files to trusted repositories. These files look legitimate, but contain hidden executable code. When a developer loads the model, the malicious payload executes automatically, stealing AWS credentials, downloading remote access Trojans, and exfiltrating data. In rug pull attacks, attackers compromise MCP servers, model context protocol servers that add tools and capabilities to AI agents to perform malicious actions after LLM integration, such as copying data and sending it to external sources. Action: scan model files with tools that can parse machine learning formats. Load models in isolated containers, VM, or browser sandboxes. Use remote MCP servers maintained by trusted organizations, GitHub, etc., rather than untrusted third-party open-source projects. Implement integrity checks and code review for AI supply chain components. Unit 42 predicts model file attacks will persist for the foreseeable future. Sources: Unit 42. Next section, patch priority. Cisco FMC, CVE 2026-20131, CVSS 10.0, 0-day exploited by Interlock ransomware since January 26. Patch immediately. Connect Wisescreen Connect, CVE 2026-3564, critical cryptographic signature flaw allowing session hijacking. Upgrade on-premises to version 26. 1. Zimber Collaboration Suite, CVE 2025-66376, CVSS 7.2, CISAKEV, exploited in Russian state-sponsored Operation Ghostmail. Patch to 10.0.18/10.1.13 by April 1. Microsoft SharePoint, CVE 2026-20963, CVSS 8.8, CISAKEV actively exploited. Patch with January 2026 updates by March 23. Apple iOS, 6 CVEs in Dark Sword Exploit Kit 30 days. Update to iOS 26, 3 or enable lockdown mode. Next section, vulnerability disclosures. High Open SSL vulnerabilities. CVE 2026-27448, CVE 2026-27459. Microsoft published 2 CVEs in PyOpen SSL. CVE 2026-27448 allows TLS connection bypass via unhandled callback exception in set TLSEC server name callback, EPS 0.0, 12th percentile. CVE 2026-27459 is a DTLS cookie callback buffer overflow, EPS 0.0, 12th percentile. No severity scores or exploitation details are available yet. Sources: MSRC. Linux kernel and file system CVS. Microsoft published multiple Linux kernel and file system CVEs. CVE 2026-23233, F2FS. Fix to avoid mapping wrong physical block for swap file, RDMA/SU. Potential null pointer dereference, net/sked. Act gate RCU snapshot issue. NTFS3. Check return value of inks find to avoid infinite loop. NTFS3. Infinite loop triggered by zero-sized adder list. NVMe. Memory allocation in NVMe PR read keys, RDMA/UMED. Reject negative data len, perf/core. Ref count bug and potential UAF in perf mmap. Wi-Fi, MAC 80211 bounds check link ID, TCP. Secure sec add back ports to TS offset, NTFS3. Infinite loop and adder load runs range. All have EP scores between 0, 0 and 0. 1, 2nd to 7th percentiles, no exploitation details are available yet, and 10 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Sources, MSRC multiple entries. XPAT XML parser CVE 2026-4224 Microsoft published CVE 2026-4224. A Stack Overflow when parsing XML with deeply nested DTD content models in the XPAT parser, EPS 0.0, 4th percentile. No severity score or exploitation details are available yet. Sources, MSRC. HTTP. Cookies CVE 2026-3644 Microsoft published CVE 2026-3644. Incomplete control character validation in Python's HTTP. Cookies module, EPS 0.1, 28th percentile. No severity score or exploitation details are available yet. Sources, MSRC. Next section, Trends and Context. Today's stories highlight the persistent targeting of edge network devices and management platforms by ransomware operators and nation-state actors. Cisco FMC 0-day, exploited for 5 weeks before disclosure. Connect Wisescreen Connect machine key vulnerability. Strikers Intune compromise, and Marquia's sonic wall breach all demonstrate that perimeter and management infrastructure remains a high-value target for initial access. The Dark Sword IOS. Exploit kit proliferation across multiple commercial surveillance vendors and state-sponsored groups mirrors Coruna, showing a mature second-hand exploit market for mobile devices. Organizations should prioritize hardening endpoint management platforms, patching edge devices immediately when vendors issue advisories, and implementing behavioral detection for exfiltration activities that leverage legitimate tools and cloud services. That concludes today's Cyber Threat Brief. From Carolina Clear Tech, stay patched, stay vigilant.